Welcome into Hand Raise Guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey filling in for Chase Parham here in the Clark Ford Studios. Tyler, thank you for spending some time with us.
You know, I missed you so much.
I know. It's been an hour and 10 minutes or so.
I mean, it felt like it was like 6.5, 7 hours.
It did.
You know, I missed you. I was longing to come back to the Clark Ford studio and hang out. I missed it. It's a nice place you got here.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
I've cleaned up a little bit.
Oh, I heard.
Got cleaning people coming in tomorrow. I had instructions on things that needed to get done, so I've done some of those things.
All right, can we solve a mysterious question? I can't be the only one. Apparently, I'm not. When there's someone comes to your house to clean,
yep,
there seems to be. I get it from my wife, so I can't speak for everybody else. But for my wife, if we have somebody that's coming to clean the house or whatever, we got company coming over, whatever it is, we have to make the house sparkling clean before the people who are coming to clean the house clean the house.
Well, this isn't that.
That can't be just my house.
No,
right?
It's not just your house, but it's straighten it enough where they can clean it. Like, don't clutter it with things that they're like, what am I supposed to do with this?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like, I mean, we're vacuuming. I'm like, aren't they going to vacuum?
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean? Like, I guess I'm not the only one.
No, you're not. That's Brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. You may have heard spring is around the corner, which means warm weather is on its way. With that is hot weather, which means you want your air conditioner to be ready to roll, to be ready to handle the heat, because it's absolutely coming. So if you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, those areas, call our friends at Comer Heating and Air, 662-801-1777. If you live in Memphis, South Haven, Hernando, Lewisburg, Olive Branch, those areas, Horn Lake, get in touch with our friends at Southern, 662-429-4429. Same great people, products and services, just different names. So Comer and Southern been sponsoring Hand Raise Guys for years now. Big partner with us. We love them. They're awesome, great, I mean phenomenal customer service. Totally serious. They will take great care of you. So get in touch with them. I'm in the Clark Ford, so is Tyler, in the Clark Ford studio. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. The phone number is 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for our friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you are looking for. He will send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that is hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. The Campbell Clinic Hotline is basically open. There's the number on the screen. From fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit campbellclinicoxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-31. Caller, hang on 1 second. I'll get right to you. One more bill to pay, one of the big bills, because these people have been with us for 12 years. This will be Blue Sky Live. I'll put it up later this evening. It'll be the Friday Blue Sky Live. If you are doing what I'm doing, you're getting out on the roads this weekend via Blue Sky, that's the place to stop. You can fill up your vehicle. You can also go inside and fill up. They got always the plate lunches, ribs, got a great beer selection, all of those things and more at Blue Sky all over the state. Hey, caller, what's up?
What's up, Tupelo?
Hey, Tupelo, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Last night was a really good sports night for me and my family. It's a good night. We had the good Ole Miss game. The baseball team walked it off. Even the St. Louis Blues won at the Kings. And if you know, the Kings are really good. I don't know how much you keep up with hockey. The Kings are really good, so that was a good win. And the Cardinals have a new slogan, so we're on track.
Oh, what's the Cardinal slogan?
Well, it's not really a new slogan. I mean, I'm just joking, really, but I believe it was a planted question down in the Dominican Republic this weekend. And if you know, Albert Pujols is a manager of a team down there. And he gets asked kind of randomly on Saturday night if he would like to be a manager in the big league one day. And his answer was, I expect to be in the big leagues either by the end of this year or next year.
Oh.
And now all the pressure's on the Cardinals. I don't know why you don't do it, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know what kind of a manager he is in the Dominican, but just because you were a great player doesn't mean you'll be a great manager. In fact, usually the great players are not great managers. Usually the Usually the players that end up being great managers are the players who struggled to stay in the major leagues. They were backup catchers, things like that.
That's all sports.
Yeah.
Same thing in football. It's like, because they don't know, like a lot of the great players don't know how to do a lot of things because their talent, they just like, well, how do I do this? Well, you do it this way. No, I mean, they don't know how to teach people because they've never had to learn the skill because they already had the skill. You know what I mean? Like they were so good. Like Dion, great example. Dion's, I mean, you think anybody had to teach him how to cover somebody? You know what I mean? He was just naturally gifted. A lot of great players struggle to be coaches because they don't understand how to teach.
You know, it's actually one of the most underappreciated parts of Larry Bird's career. As a coach, he was very close to taking the Indiana Pacers to a title. He just couldn't get past Jordan. It took him to Game 7, late fourth quarter of a Game 7. But Bird was a exception. He was a great player who was also a very good coach.
Yeah.
Like Magic Johnson was a terrible coach.
It reminds me of it's like in college, don't coach your alma mater, especially if you're like a legend at the school. I mean, even though he was at the Angels for 7 years or whatever. He's a Cardinal, and that would be, if it goes bad, it would be hard to fire him. And I don't know if they'll do it. I doubt they will. There's such a conservative organization that I don't think they will. But last night, I thought last night was a big moment for Ole Miss basketball. Not even that they won the game, but the fact that they played. I thought they could win the game, and I thought that was more important than actually them winning, if that even makes sense.
I mean, yeah, they absolutely thought they were going to win. They believed they could win. They're a good team. I mean, there's no unbeatable team in the league. I mean, even the two teams that are the best two teams, Auburn and Florida, have lost games. I thought it was a big night for that program just because I don't know, over the last few years they've gotten to these big games in the Pavilion where people get excited and they show up and kind of Ole Miss loses. And last night it wasn't a big game. I mean, Ole Miss was in the tournament no matter what. I mean, yeah, we could talk about seeding and stuff. Tennessee was certainly playing for a 1 seed. You know, it was frankly, as crazy as this sounds, it was a bigger game for Tennessee than it was Ole Miss. Just in terms of seeding, Ole Miss isn't going to get a 1 seed. Tennessee was going to get a 1 seed. I mean, Ole Miss might. You can dive into the semantics of, well, a 6 seed is better than a 7 seed and stuff. And okay, cool, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Tennessee's playing for a 1. I just thought it was a big environment. People showed up. There were a lot of Tennessee people, apparently. Tyler said that this afternoon. And then Aka, who lives with us, was at the game. Some of his friends last night. They were sitting up top, and that the whole area up there was orange. Huge crowd, lots of people. It was a great environment. I heard it looked really good on TV, all that stuff. I don't know. There were people who wondered if basketball can work at Ole Miss in the modern era. There's your answer. Yes. The answer is yes.
Speaking of the NCAA, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of the NCAA tournament, I think the 6th seed, if an SEC team gets a 6th seed, I think the team, I think they are, obviously besides the ones we know are going to be 1s and 2s, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not one of the 1s and 2s, teams that can get 6th seed, I think are going to set themselves up to have deep runs in the tournament.
Why?
Because you play an 11 to start with.
Yep.
All right, and then that place. Then you after that you're facing the winner of the 3-14 game.
Yep. Decent chance of an upset.
Okay, and then
And threes are beatable.
At worst, you got a 2 going in the Elite 8. At best case, worst case scenario. I think when you see the SEC what they've done in out of conference play, I think that's I mean, I think the 6. If you're looking for a deep run, SEC teams will 6 seeds. I think can have that are unexpected deep runs.
Yeah.
I think 8, 9 seed. We'll see you after the second night. You know what I mean? So if you're having a matchup with a one next round.
2 things. Well, one going into last night. I mean, Ole Miss we've only been really out of a game before the last 5 minutes of the second half one time, and that was at Auburn. And then, which I didn't think we had any shot at beating them at home, but we were in the game late. If 2 things, 3 things go our way, we win the game. I thought there was only one time this year that going into it, I thought, okay, we just don't have a chance. It was at Auburn. And, I mean, we lost a couple of close games. They're kind of together. But, I mean, when you're in a good basketball league, that happens. I mean, when the Lakers lose to the Hornets or when the Grizzlies lose at the Trailblazers or something, it's not that big of a deal. It's because everybody has good players. And so I think the fan base we kind of got a little antsy, and I think last night broke all of the ant. I mean, they're clearly making the tournament. Now it's just a determination. I mean, are we going to be a 5 or 6 seed, really, or 7 seed? But I was keeping up with the box score last night just as the game was on through the ESPN app. And this really works in college basketball, but I looked at 4 categories, and it kind of tells you who's winning. That's percentage, 3-point percentage, free throws made, and then rebounds. And Tennessee led at the end of the game 3 of those 4. I mean, they had a better field goal percentage, better 3-point percentage, and they made more free throws than Ole Miss. The only thing that we did better in those 4 categories was rebounding. And so I started looking at it. It's a 2-point game, and what ended up being the swing is the fact that we only had 5 turnovers and they had 8. And I mean, if they shot 46% from the field, which they did, if they get 2 more shots up, the odds are they were going to make one of them, and so they would have tied the game or won the game with a 3. So, I mean, it kind of went back to how we won at Alabama and a couple of those early games, is not turning it over and forcing them to turn it over more than we do. And that's what, in my opinion, won the game last night.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, I appreciate the call, Tupelo.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Go Cardinals.
Go Braves.
All right. Grind's got a question for you.
Okay.
He says, so you got 4 quarterbacks. You got to pick 3 and then leave 1. Then you get down to 3, you pick 2, you leave 1. So ultimately, you're picking a quarterback, but you're doing it in process of elimination.
Well, I answered. I know my 4.
Oh, you?
Yeah. Sellers, Lagway, then Arch.
Nussmeier, then Sellers, then Lagway, then Arch.
Very simple. Nussmeier is the best quarterback coming back that's shown me he can do it. Sellers is an elite runner, struggles with passing. Lagway hasn't. He's an elite runner. Lagway is neither an elite runner or an elite passer, so he doesn't have it. He's good. I'm not saying he's bad. I would take him. I'm just saying he doesn't have an elite, super elite quality. He's okay. And then Arch, I'm not doing this putting crowns on people's hats because they've started one game. Show me.
He just did
show me.
He got an NIL deal with cars that don't require drivers.
I think he's going to be a great player. Show me.
And then he sat in they all got. Let me ask you this.
I'm not doing the clickbait. Somebody tagged me in a clickbait where On 3 said it was the best quarterback in the country come back. I'm not doing the clickbait. Show me.
I'm not even asking about football. I'm asking about judgment here.
Okay.
All right. And caller, you can answer this too. You get in a driverless Uber. There's 3 of you. Doesn't one of you sit up front? All 3 of you aren't sitting in the back seat crammed in together with one person.
Well, if you're shooting a commercial and there's one camera shooting in the back.
Sorry. It's ridiculous.
Have you ever been in one of those?
No. Would you get in one? A driverless Uber?
I guess I would. I really hadn't thought about it, but I would probably not be. I'd be checking them out, saying what's going on. I wonder, can you like jump in the front and take over if something goes
Well,
bad?
that was my question. Wouldn't somebody want to be like, hey, just in case, man, you don't know what you're doing, I'm going to hop into the seat and drive the car?
Yeah, I probably would need to sit in the front seat. I'm with you on that.
Okay. Hey, caller, who do we have?
Hey, y'all, it's Mark Columbus.
Hey, Mark.
I had to call it. I had to call in.
Mark, what
Hell
it
of
is?
a game last night. Hell of a game last night.
It was a great
Hell of a
game.
college basketball game.
Really good game.
I mean, like I thought Tennessee was likely going to lose the game before. I mean, I took the 3 with Ole Miss. It was a complete dead spot for Tennessee. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that Tennessee went through the motions or didn't try or whatever. But they couldn't match Ole Miss's intensity level. Like they were at a 7 out of 10. Ole Miss was at a 9.5, 10 out of 10. And then that Brakefield cat turns into Derek freaking Coleman. I mean, what do you do?
I mean,
I would have switched. I
buddy.
probably would have switched Mayshak on him, but
All right, I gotta say,
I
almost said this on our show today, and I just didn't feel. I don't know. I didn't feel like doing it. I don't. He's got to be the slowest twitch playmaker that's ever existed.
Yeah, it's the knock on him.
I mean, he's like, I'm going to do a spin move.
Not yesterday, though.
And then the pump fake, like me and Brock were making fun of his pump fake because he's left-handed.
Yeah.
He was making his pump fake. He had the ball dribbling in his left hand. He threw his right hand up, and homie left his feet. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's why Barnes was pissed. Barnes was pissed last night because their guys kept taking the pump fake, and he's like, "The scout was, we want him to shoot the 3. So why, if you want him to shoot, why are you taking the pump fake? Let him shoot." Rick was frustrated. His team, Rick, I think, was frustrated with his team's focus.
I mean, that dude was unconscious.
And then he was able to, and it was Mayshak some, and it was the other guy too. He was able to bully a couple of guys. He got ISO'd on one side, and he kind of bullied his way to the basket, and then he made a move, but he was able to. He was using just kind of some
the backup.
some brawn.
If you're an Ole Miss fan, I watch a lot of basketball. Okay, I probably watch more Ole Miss basketball than 99% of Ole Miss fans. Let me tell you when my boy Jalen Brakefield's feeling it. Okay, the second he starts to back people down from half court, that's when he's feeling it. He'll start backing people. No shit, he will start backing people down from 3 feet outside the 3-point line. When he starts that move, when he turns the back. And that's when he's feeling it, and he'll go. He may throw that thing off the back of the shot clock, but he's going to back him down. And he was feeling. He couldn't miss. He couldn't miss.
Well, he didn't miss in the second half. He was 8 for 8.
He couldn't. Like, I think he tried to miss a few times and couldn't miss. The dude couldn't miss. I mean, he was on fire.
like I said, guy turned into Derek freaking Coleman. I mean, what are you going to do? But
it is what it is.
I'm surprised more teams haven't done what Beard did last night as far as isolating certain players. Because like our paint defense and rim protection is absolutely elite, and our gap defense is really elite. But you could beat a couple of our guys off the bounce. Like,
yeah, but
they did it.
Mark, you know what, Mark? Though there's just not as many players in the college game that have any real back to the basket moves. Everything is 5 out now, and yeah, there's drives and stuff, but for the most part, everyone's kind of looking for shots. It's one of the things when people do the criticism of the pro game, like everyone's shooting threes. I'm like, are you watching the college game, dude? Everyone's shooting threes too. Yeah. The difference is they're missing them.
I'll say this too, Mark, on Tennessee's defense. I thought they played great defense. I thought the difference in that game last night, just watching Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not. I mean, Ole Miss couldn't rebound Oxford High School some nights. Ole Miss got a ton of uncontested offensive rebound putbacks for easy buckets last night. I don't know the number, but I bet you it was 10 points worth. I know
that was pretty disappointing.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there was a missed shot, and an Ole Miss guy would get the rebound and make an uncontested putback, and there was probably 10 points worth at least of those throughout the night. And here's
the thing about Ole Miss. They are very dangerous in the tournament because, I mean, obviously outside of Mike White, of course, There's no other coach I'd rather have in a one-game scenario and or on a short turnaround than that guy, Chris Beard.
Well, you're going to have. That's what's cool about this league, in my opinion, is the coaching. I mean, it's not just Ole Miss.
Yeah,
the whole league is full.
I'm with Mark.
Yeah, Chris Beard's kind of a different.
I'm a Chris Beard.
I know
I'm
you
just
are,
saying.
yeah.
I think the SEC in general
has a lot of really good coaches. I got to tell you, I think this guy. I've been spending the day trying to think how I want to say this because I don't want to insult the players that he coaches.
I'll do it. What you want to say?
Yeah.
But here it is. Here it is. This team's gonna let's assume a loss to Florida.
I think that's a safe.
I think that's a kill job, by the way, but that's all right.
So 10-8. How many SEC coaches do I think could have taken this team and gone 10-8?
Golden. Bruce Pearl.
Bruce.
It's one.
Probably Barnes.
Go on Golden. I think Golden's strength is, and I think Golden's very good. But I think he's a guy that recruits these really balanced rosters and then plays a really balanced brand of basketball. This is
Rick
not
Barnes.
Neal. Mike White, obviously.
Mike, yeah, of course. Barnes maybe. Barnes is really good.
I do not think Nate Oates.
No, I don't either. No way. And look, part of coaching is recruiting.
Buzz.
He'd probably muck it up and get you 10. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Buzzball.
I don't know that he could get you
I think
to
it's
10.
disgusting.
I don't think he could.
It's disgusting basketball.
I don't think he could get you to 10. But he does a good job with what he's got. Not Calipari.
Well,
not McMahon, although he's done a really good job at LSU with nothing.
My guy at Vandy's
not Paris.
My guy at Vandy probably could.
I think the Vanderbilt's roster is better than the Ole Miss roster.
Yeah, I agree.
What'd you say?
Vanderbilt's roster.
I think the Vandy roster is better than the Ole Miss roster.
The Missouri roster is better than the Ole Miss roster.
I agree with that. I don't think Vandy's is though. Vandy's been an out athlete.
Well,
they've gotten beat.
Like I don't think
Chris
could win 10 with this group.
No.
Beer is very reminiscent of his mentor.
I mean, he's good, dude.
As a floor coach and a preparation coach, there's no one better. He's very Bob Knight-ish. I hate to say it, Bob Knight's the greatest floor coach, greatest game prep coach in the history of the sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he learned a lot from Knight.
The guy won NBA All-Star in 40 years of coaching. He won 3 national titles. He had 1 NBA All-Star. I mean, but he's a disciple of Bob Knight.
He's good.
And
I mean,
you can see the way they play.
I hope I didn't watch this. I hope. Look, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his. I will always be a fan. I like the way he coaches. So I hope that wasn't the last time I get to see him coach in the pavilion. But I like him a lot.
I don't think.
Go ahead here.
I don't think he's going to Indiana.
I just said I hope it's not.
I could be wrong.
I just hope it's not.
I think.
I put it like this. I've been a coach.
Indiana's pretty stuffy, man.
It gets exhausting trying to get people involved in the program.
Indiana's a stuffy joint. Morality and whatnot. I'm rolling my eyes. I don't know if they do it. Now their fan base wants him bad. I just don't. Their administration they're stuffy. They're.
Do you know who Rick Bozich is?
Yeah,
Indiana-based journalist, very connected. He wrote this week pretty firmly that Beard was not going to get the job. Is that an Eagle?
I don't they had to call Brad because he had to see, and Dusty May's not leaving Michigan. I don't think Dusty May ever wanted it. According to some people, come national writers, Dusty May's not interested in the Indiana job. He just doesn't want to do it.
I'd rather have the Michigan job than the Indiana job.
Yeah, and
there's other ways. But the Indiana job, look, Indiana's probably going to make the tournament, right?
Yeah, they win Saturday.
And homie's going to get fired. I mean, expectations.
They'll take care of them.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like the expectations.
They got to.
But you know what I'm saying? The expectations of. I don't know. And of course, every basketball purist ever is going to go, "You're crazy. You're stupid." Just coming from a coach's standpoint, do you want to stay at Ole Miss where you got all the equity that you could ever have right now in a basketball program. And you're coaching in the SEC.
Yeah.
You got an athletic department that's committed to winning games.
A league where maybe 14 of 16 is getting in,
and you're coaching the best league in college basketball, and you're sitting there and you got an AD who is a basketball guy who's always going to support you, and you got all this equity. You're going to turn all of that in to go coach at a place that regardless of what we want to say, okay? And I understand history. When was the last time Indiana was a championship contender?
2002. Well, Crean had them going a little bit, and they gagged in the tournament the one year when they had Oladipo and the Zeller kid, and he had them going a little bit. But before that, 2002.
Okay, so
that team that
been a quarter of a century almost, right? So we can say it's a quarter of a century since they've been a true title contender.
Yeah,
is that fair? So he got all that in for the same pressure to place. You know what I'm saying? Like the expectations in Indiana is going to be higher than the expectations at Ole Miss, but you're on similar stands of programs right now. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't give a shit about your history. But as of today, in the last quarter of a century, Indiana has not been a title contender. Fair?
And beer can win anywhere. Like
I'm with you.
Do I think? But beer can win anywhere. Like I mean,
equity. Why turn in that equity for that job?
I mean, I don't know enough details of modern day Indiana to break it down. Ole Miss is.
I wouldn't put he's going to make how much more money as Indiana could pay him than Ole Miss?
I mean, not much, if any.
Why would you turn in the equity? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I get all the other stuff.
Listen,
I just don't understand why you turn in that equity.
If I'm leaving Ole Miss today,
from a coach's standpoint,
it's to go to a much more sure thing than Indiana.
I think fans,
Kentucky, Kansas.
Yeah, North Carolina. The ones that are the jobs. Yeah,
North Carolina wouldn't hire him.
I mean,
I don't think North Carolina would hire him.
I don't know whether he feels any loyalty or whatnot to the whole chancellor and AD that gave him a chance when maybe a lot of people wouldn't. I don't know. I don't mean that as a negative either. I don't know. But now, I mean, he just took Team 2 to the tournament. We'll see what happens in the tournament. I don't know. If I knew, I'd be in Vegas right now. Not with. I love you, but I wouldn't.
I mean, I love you. I mean, I spent a whole 90 minutes away from you, and I couldn't wait to come back.
I know you couldn't get back. But I mean, people are going to be excited about basketball in November here. He's going to be able to go into the portal now, and he's got some proof of concept. He didn't have that year one, and he didn't have it last year. So now he's got it.
I mean, I'll put Pitino in his own class, but I've said it. He and Danny Hurley, I'll put Pitino in kind of a separate class, but he and Danny Hurley are the two best coaches in college basketball, period, full stop. Period.
Tyler,
that guy.
I want you to get a sequined sport coat and wear it.
You know,
you would look amazing in all the sequins. Look at how sequinedy they are. How flashy and shiny you would be if you had just sequins popping.
I guess I missed the memo.
But Neal, you're very accurate. That game meant a lot more to Tennessee. I think that was I don't want to say catastrophic loss, but it was a big time missed opportunity, because if we're a 1 seed in the tournament, we would project out to play Michigan State or Iowa State in the Elite Eight. And now, if we're a 2 seed, we're playing Houston, who's kind of a little better version of us than us. Or you got to play Duke, who you go into that game, it's going to be 5-on-8, because they're going to do everything they can to get Duke and Cooper Flag into that Final Four.
Well, again, I will say what I said.
Get the best point guard in the game, though.
I'll say what I said earlier today, which is what I'd heard from people around that Tennessee program, was they felt like Florida was going to win at Alabama, and that was going to create an avenue for them to win their way into the 1 seed, and obviously winning their way into the 1 seed included beating Ole Miss.
And I think Florida's better than us.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't care what we beat.
I think
Florida might be the best team in the league. I think Florida might be the best team in the league.
I think you can argue Florida's the best team in the country when they're fully healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason that I have a futures bet on the Florida Gators, and I do not have.
Oh, I got one. What's your number?
Kyle,
I got 60 to 1. What's your number?
Good for you. I got 9-1. I'm so jealous.
I got mine before the season.
Yeah.
I've got the cash out price of that thing is pretty tasty.
Yeah, I bet you can probably get it. I bet you can get it real nice right now.
I'm going to have a lot of equity in that ticket come March, and watch they'll get bounced in the second round, but it'll be fun.
That's nice.
All right, guys. Thanks. Congrats, Ole Miss fans. Those kids played their asses off, man. They deserved that win. When we had a ball in the rim to tie the game, and it didn't go in, but you guys, they deserved it. They played their asses off.
Appreciate the call.
How about that? So what's
your game? Is there one game Saturday that you're dialed into?
Oh no, I'll be dialed into whatever the Criteria Club, whatever DGen parlay. That's why I watch so much basketball. I have learned that it's the Criteria Club that makes me watch so much basketball. Like tonight is the darkest of all darkest bets. As a matter of fact, if y'all want to get in the Criteria Club, I'll give you the free play right now.
Oh, here we go.
Free play.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Let me tell you how dark and sadistic and degenerate that you have to be. This is tonight's play.
Okay.
Which the first one you're like, okay, that's not so bad. It's the UAB Blazers.
Okay.
Over FAU. Just straight money line, win or lose. No points.
Where's the game?
Sit in Birmingham.
Okay.
Game number 2, Quinnipiac.
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 Okay.
The pack is back. We got Quinnipiac. We got Nebraska Omaha.
Okay.
And what we call hitting cleanup is St. Thomas.
Where the hell is St. Thomas?
Minnesota.
Okay.
Like I've learned all kinds of things.
Oh my God, who are they playing?
I can't remember. I got to pull it up. I'll pull it up for you right now. All right, so we got where we at? We got dadgummit. I missed one too. We got Mount St. Mary.
All right, Quinnipiac over Mount St. Mary's.
Okay, we got Nebraska Omaha, and they are. Hang on, I gotta get my percentages. I gotta scroll it. Give me 1 second. Nebraska Omaha is where you at? Where you at? I just got to do it this way. Nebraska Omaha is hosting, or this is in the tournament, but they're hosting Kansas City.
Oh.
You didn't even know there was a team called Kansas City, did you?
I did not.
All right. This is actually a neutral site game, but they beat Kansas City by 12 on the road like 2 days ago, and analytically there's a lot better.
Okay.
All right, and then hitting cleanup is St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
Okay, St. Thomas, they're a 7-point favorite tonight. No, they're a 10-point favorite tonight.
Okay.
St. Thomas is in the Summit League tournament hosting playing Denver.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, plus 222.
Okay. Who do we have?
Hi.
Hey, who's this?
Hey, this is Jackson from Alabama. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
What's up, Jackson?
Doing pretty good myself. I'm about to hop in the shower, so I'm going to make it quick. With the quarterback battle at Alabama coming up, do you think they're going to start Ty Simpson, or do you think they're going to fall back on Keelan or Austin Mack more?
I think as long as you hear anything in the media reported or anything that they do to demonstrate to the media, it's going to be
just think the opposite.
It's going to be I think it's going to be Ty Simpson. I think
really.
I think you'll have first crack at it because you got another portal window coming open, but that's not even really the big deal. Ty Simpson is a graduate; he can transfer in or out of portal windows. So they want to try.
Yeah, he's good.
So if
he's just looking for an opportunity.
And so if they did something like went ahead and named Keelan Russell quarterback, then Ty Simpson's just going to transfer, and then you're going to be one injury away from losing a lot of football games. So
yeah, the injuries is going to be a kind of a big thing this year to me, or what I'm worried about this year for real, with a bunch of the younger guys taking over more positions.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that Ty will get first crack at it. I think Keelan Russell is extremely talented. Again, I guess I'm turning into Neal. I've been around Neal so long, I'm starting to turn into him.
I'm sorry.
I'm getting increasingly every day that I get on social media, I get more and more aggravated at beat writers that show one clip of a guy throwing ball routes on air, going, "Oh my God, did you see that ball come out of his hand?" Like I
couldn't agree more, Tyler. I really do. I mean, you can make an open 5-yard pass on a 3-high defense, but when they come low, that's when it counts.
Well, I mean, it's like when you get in the game.
That's what she said, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. When you get in the game and there's 11 dudes on the other side that are physically trying to harm you, but you still have to do your job. little bit different than when you're sitting back there hanging out. I almost said something ugly. When you're sitting back there holding on to the ball, there's a coaching term we use for that. I won't say it on the show. When you're sitting back there holding on to the ball for 5 minutes, throwing routes on air, and Pat goes. Like, I can't – it just increasingly every day that goes by, I get more and more agitated at these beat writers that go to practice and clip one clip and want to name people starters. I saw one today from an Alabama beat writer. I don't know who it is. It's one of them. I know it was Alabama beat writer because it was at practice. I saw one today.
And also, he was probably wearing full Alabama gear going Roll Tide.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. I need to ask Petty who it was. I can't make this up. I thought of you, Neal.
Okay.
As I do often. All right, I thought of you when I saw this. It said, the tweet was about, it was showing defensive linemen working drills off the sled or something. And the guy goes, it's unbelievable how much better he is at this drill than he was last year.
Well, that's kind of expected with getting older.
How it works.
I mean, shit.
He was a true freshman last year when you hit that. Now he's a second-year player. He probably learned
he's done the drill a while.
Sometime in the last 365 days, he figured that drill out.
How about that?
How about that?
It's kind of like saying the sun's going to go down later after daylight savings. It's kind of a given.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway. I get increasingly upset about that. But regardless of what happens, this is what – and matter of fact, I had to ask Petty who it was. I can't remember because I sent it to Petty. I saw it. The same guy. People want to know why coaches don't want to have spring games. People want to know why they don't want to have spring practice. They know why the fans want to know why media is not allowed at practice and why some coaches are like that. I will tell you why. Same guy goes right down and names the starting 5 offensive linemen in the first team drills on social media.
Yep.
Like, why?
It's the craziest thing.
Why?
So we literally
creating problems.
Literally, this is a little bit inside baseball, but not really. Lane Kiffin last year was asked in spring by a beat writer, "Hey, did we do something? Because we used to get more access than this." And Kiffin basically answered the question with, "Look, when you guys come out there and put out depth charts, number one, they're not right. And number two, they're just creating problems for us."
Yes.
Parents, coaches, now you got the portal. If you could just chill with the depth charts.
I feel like it'd make life a whole lot easier down south if they would just chill with it.
The same day, the same writer put out a depth chart because he can't help himself. And so they go, we got to cut it off. Okay. I get it. I'm the one guy media is supposed to say I'd never complain. I always fight for more access. I'm like, no, I get it. If I were them, I'd cut it off.
It just creates unnecessary
I totally
problems.
understand why they do what they do. I totally get it. But you know what? In fairness to this reporter,
he was allowed out there.
In fairness to this reporter, 2 things. 1, if you're out there, you're out there. And then 2, his subscriber base,
that's what they want.
That's what they want.
And I get that.
And so he gives it to him because he's afraid if I don't give that to him, I'm going to lose him. And so it's the whole it's a weird thing.
Honestly, if I was a coach, and I would literally say, if I was a coach, I would pull before we started spring practice or fall practice or whatever. I would say I would like all the beat writers in one room, please. And I'd sit there and say, look, guys, I personally don't care if you're out there the whole time. Okay, but these are the things we can't have reported.
Yep.
Okay, and we can y'all want to be out there or not.
And then it's up to the reporters to decide whether those terms are acceptable or not.
And it's like I don't want injuries or depth charts. That is it.
Yeah.
Don't say somebody's hurt. Don't say the depth chart. And I don't care what you're.
And the injury thing is super simple because you go out to the practice and you notice people aren't practicing. And when you have the next media op, you say, hey, I've noticed that so-and-so is not practicing. What's up with that?
And that's why, and Lane and I probably got this from the same guy, but it'd be like, I don't comment on the injuries. I mean, and that's why you get that answer, right?
Yeah, and that's just the reporter going, okay, well, I asked.
Yes.
And that way people go, well, what happened? I don't know. I asked. He said we.
That's literally the only 2 things. Like, I don't care. And this is being dead serious. Some people think, oh, they don't want to see what they're doing. I will hand you my script. I don't care if you go and report. They were in 4 wide today. throwing passes down the field because there's no reporter going to be able to communicate the scheme that's going on.
I've literally told you this.
You can watch the trick plays and all of it.
I could stand at the Ole Miss practice for 2.5 hours with total access. In fact, you could give me a coaching headset. And then Jeff Lebby could call, and I could put Lebby on the other phone. He could say, tell me what you see. I wouldn't be able to help him at all.
They're running the ball up the middle. Where are they running? Inside zone? Are they running duo?
So what
are they doing?
The quarterback
gap scheme.
The receiver just ran a little post pattern, and the other guy.
Would you know how to describe what gap scheme is?
No,
I asked you what gap scheme was?
Because that's not why I got hired. It's what drives me crazy about my field is that all of a sudden people that got hired because they're supposedly good at communicating and writing, taking a game like.
Hey, I got one more question for Tyler before I go. I don't know if you saw this on your feed. I think it was a Daily Mail video or something. They were just showing like 1 or 2 clips of Keelan Russell throwing the ball at the first indoor practice. I don't know if you saw that or not. Everybody's going crazy saying, he throws a perfect ball or whatever. Well, I mean, he's one of the highest recruits of the school's history. Of course, he's going to throw a perfect ball that they wouldn't have recruited him.
I think that was the clip I was referring to. Yeah.
That kind of chewed me up a little bit. You know, we barely got in the March and they're already talking about Keelan Russell coming to quarterback.
Yeah. Love to
All
learn.
right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Good one.
You too.
No, I got my ability, right, is this. I can cover a basketball game last night that ends literally with the game not decided with 1 second left, right? Because if the kid for Tennessee makes the shot, we're going OT. I can turn that around. I don't know how well I can do it, but I can do it faster and more effectively than the majority of people.
Do it faster than I could.
I can turn that into content.
I'd still be there right now.
I'm not there because I understand. I mean, I watch a lot of basketball and kind of get it. And I was able to say, hey, were you hunting for an advantage, like a one-on-one with Jamin? Was that what you were trying to? And the answer was yes, right? And, we got into the whole.
Man started backing it down from three-quarter court.
I mean, there was some obvious stuff. But no, I mean, do I see, if I watch a football game and you watch a football game, we don't watch the same game.
You know what? It's amazing.
I can admit that. And I don't know why there's so many people in my field that suddenly can't admit that, no. Hey, caller, hang on 1 second. I'm going to finish my point, and I'll get to you. Just promise I'll surrender the show. Roll Tide. I don't know why that's so hard to admit that, hey, I don't know the game as well as these people. In the same way that if I were to say, hey, Chris, can you imagine if I said, hey, Chris, I understand basketball as well as you do? It'd be like, that's idiotic. In the same way, he couldn't do my job. I mean, why is that? I don't know why that's so difficult. I mean, why is that so difficult for people in my field suddenly? It did not used to be this way. This is a new phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean,
when I started covering Auburn in 1998, nobody was breaking down film.
They still don't do it the right way.
Of course they don't. I don't try.
No, you don't. But there's other ones like when what. All right, go ahead, get the call.
Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
He said, "Fuck y'all, I'm going."
Hey, caller. Oh, he disappeared.
He said, "Fuck y'all, I'm out." No, it would blow your mind how many people.
That's how Zelensky felt in the White House. Just cut off.
We see you. They'll be like, "Oh, he's running inside zone." It's like, no, it's outside zone. Like, it's outside zone, but if a running back cuts it up, drives me nuts. They'll be like, "Oh, they're killing him on the inside zone play." No, they're running outside zone. Airtime. He's just cutting it back, and they not understanding like the duo one. That's the one that gets me. Is duos like the simulated pressure? It's like the hot run term now. I'll bet you 100 out of 100 people can't draw up duo and explain to me what duo is.
No.
They just see a run up the middle. They don't know the difference between inside zone and duo.
Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. So are we just doing sports, not some non-sports stuff tonight?
We can do non-sports.
It's your show, boss. Whatever you want to talk about.
All right, well.
This is y'all's show.
I was going to talk just some politics a little bit. The kind of crazy week we had. both of y'all are questioning, say 10 years ago, how politics are. Would you ever imagine that on live TV they had kind of sit down and do with Zelensky? Me never. Not even 10 years ago.
No, that one wasn't even planned.
I don't know.
I don't know. They might have said it wasn't planned, but I'm not so sure.
That one seemed to me, to my Zelensky deal.
The one that kept going and kept going and kept going. That was like a final question, and then Zelensky he'd said that.
Bro, I think that was, I honestly would be not only shocked, but I would be disappointed if that wasn't set up.
Okay, interesting.
I think it was set up.
Okay.
It was like
set up by the
I think
Trump Vance people.
I just think Trump and Vance were both waiting on an opportunity to pounce.
Okay.
And then when they took it, they drug it out.
He gave it to him, and then some.
Yeah, he gave it to him big time. I mean, he may have mentioned that he wanted it on TV because they thought it'd help him, but I think Trump and them, they wanted to make him look that way, and that was their chance.
Yeah, I think that was.
But they brought him there because they thought that he was going to sign. He told them he told Rubio he was going to sign the mineral rights deal that day.
That's what I'm saying.
They were going to have the mutual press. It was going to be a kumbaya thing.
Yeah, I think that was.
I don't know.
I think that was showing. Yeah, I think that was staged.
Well, he's changed his mind several times. He come back and said he was going to do it, then he changed his mind on live TV again.
Have you ever said thank you, Neal? That dude was on drugs, by the way.
Which one?
Zelensky.
You think?
Oh yeah, he was
on what?
Something.
Like what gave you the?
Because he was fidgety.
Well, he's probably trying to figure out how to communicate in a different language without starting World War III.
I mean, that could be it.
Probably a little anxious.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. He might. World
War III.
He might. Yeah, he might want World War III.
I don't think. Why would he want it? What's?
I mean, he probably got rich off all the money they got.
He'd have allies at that point. I mean, right now he doesn't really have allies other than all the. I mean, France is saying they'll help. I mean, hey, when France says we'll bring you military assistance, you know you're in trouble.
Look.
The crazy Democrats, they support him.
Their allies. The second that the United States goes, we're on this team, they'll all go, okay, us too. We're changing teams. And they'll jump like that.
I completely agree.
So I mean, look, just yeah.
Mask agrees with me. He was on drugs.
On what though?
Like coke. That dude was out.
He was twitchy. I mean, you're right there. He was twitchy.
He wasn't glassy though.
No.
Classy. Couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Could have been easy.
Yeah. It looked like he needed some easy.
He did not have an easy.
He did not have an easy.
He did not have an easy.
No.
Or one of those 3 cheese. I lost 40 minutes of my life on the other night.
It's like the Saturday Night Live commercial with the guys to get lifted up. He, to be happy, he took a couple of beers, and when he got drowsy from a couple of beers, he took a little bump.
Yeah, brother, I hit that.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
He had a little bump.
It definitely wasn't the other one because I hit that. I hit one of those vitamins the other night. I told Scoops the other night I was watching a basketball, one of the Criteria Club nights. I was watching a basketball game on the app. It was like 9 minutes to go. It was like watching the Tennessee Ole Miss game, but like Quinnipiac and Merrimack going after it. And I'm sitting there and I'm all into it. I blinked my eyes and then it said, "Thank you, your event has ended." I don't know what the hell happened to like 40 minutes of my life.
You just blacked out.
No, I mean, brother, I wasn't laying down or nothing. I was sitting straight up in a chair. I felt like I was coming out of anesthesia from surgery. I didn't know what the hell happened. Those vitamins hit hard.
By the way,
Tucker.
Hunter Biden says he's broke. He says sales of his memoir and art have slowed to a trickle, and that his rental home was impacted by the Pacific Palisades fire.
All right, they didn't like my my talk over here on TikTok. TikTok, we're out. I'm not gonna get banned today. Come to MPW Digital.
The other thing is how bad, like, just of human beings do the Democrats seem to be after, like, not standing for the give brain cancer and just the crazy signs. I mean, to me, they're even they're giving the Republicans a chance to win, in 26.
It was bad strategy. I won't get into whether they're bad beings or not because I don't know them, and so I just don't like doing stuff like that.
I'm not saying they're bad human. I'm saying it makes them look like bad human. When you're not standing for Lincoln Riley, when you're not standing for the cancer, you look like a bad person.
Yes, 100%. It was awful political strategy.
Well, that's the other thing. Is like there's no election. Like, what are we? Just that was my point today. There's nothing to be standing for.
I think we're underestimating a couple of things.
I think they're angry. I think they're a lot angry.
I agree with that.
And I just don't think they believe.
It's clouding judgment.
They did not believe that they were going to lose.
Did you see?
I don't know why.
Did you see Smith on Joey Behart the other day on what's the name of that show? The View.
I mean, I've given The View up for Lent.
I mean, the clip, like
I don't watch The View at all.
I didn't sit down and read. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to turn The View. I saw a clip. I mean, come on.
Joey Behart.
Even when the clips come, I just stroll to the next section.
He gave her the business because he was like, the problem with Democratic Party.
Stephen A. Yeah, I did see that clip. I did. You're right. Hey, thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, he said thank you too. He said thank you too. No, but he was talking about how
he pointed out that they are ignoring the reality that Trump gained in every major demographic over 4 years ago. White men, white women, black women, Hispanic men, Hispanic women, whatever.
And they were focused on this 1%.
And they're so obsessed with this, but the popular vote was close. Well, yeah, okay, you ran up.
That's great. That's not how we count them.
She ran up the score. It's like a 7-game series where she lost 4 games to 1, but the one game she won, by God, she won that thing 23-2.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. You had a great game. You rolled it up in California. You rolled it up in Oregon. You rolled it up in Washington. You dominated Vermont. Great job. But you got your ass kicked in the states that everyone knew mattered. We talked about the same 10 states for 4 years. So you knew which games were the big games. It would literally be like a college football coach going, look, I know I went 2-6 in the league, but did you guys see what we did to Sanford? Did you see the game against Montpelier State? I was 77-0. Awesome.
What about that St. Thomas and Denver?
Yeah. So it's interesting. It always is. There is no sign yet, and it's still awfully early because our news cycle goes so fast. But there's no sign yet that they've really learned the lesson from the previous election. They hate the man so much that it might not be possible.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And he was, I can't remember the guy's name. He was a political person that Rogan had on. And this was kind of when the day started. And he said most likely, he said they hate the man. They can't turn it off. And also, with all the day stuff, they probably lost some income.
Did you see the clip? Because I listened to some of it. I didn't get to listen to all of it. Elon Musk on Joe Rogan, where he said he couldn't uncover.
I've saved it.
Yes. I'll listen to that.
He said
he's probably not wrong in a way.
He said that
he'd be assassinated.
On the flight over, he had to think about what he could and couldn't say. He said there's some stuff that he's uncovered that he can't. He says, I don't even think I can approach it because they'll end up killing me or assassinating me.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Think about that.
Which is wild.
That's wild.
I mean, think about that.
But at the same time, I mean, they tried to assassinate Trump, and it's certainly.
I'm trying to, and you listen to it too. I'm trying to think of it because it was like 3 days or 2 days ago when I listened to it. He said something to the effect of there was that it was worse. He said, what did he say? It was worse than something. He says
he says worse than we can imagine.
Yeah, worse than you can imagine. It's one of the worst things he's ever seen in his life, or something. He can't even talk about it and can't even probably bring it to light because they'll probably kill me. They'll probably assassinate me.
I mean, what the hell could that even be? They've already killed a sitting American president.
Man, that's just what he said. It's on Joe Rogan. Everybody can go listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to it. I'm driving to Oklahoma City tomorrow.
I didn't watch the video, but I was listening to it, and as he was sitting there, he said, he stopped for a second, paused, and said, let me think what I could say.
Yeah, he said, let me think about how I can say this. He goes, I can't He goes, I thought about it on the flight over here, how to say it or just not to say it. Because if I come out and say what I know, that's what he says. If I come out and say, he says, it's worse than you imagine. And it's really bad, like really bad. He says, if I say it out loud, they'll assassinate
So
me.
I'm not yelling at you when I say this, but here's the question.
Thank you.
Who is they? I know you don't know. I'm asking, who do you think is they?
I personally don't.
I don't know either. I would have to. I mean, it's got to be politician people.
I don't even know who he would be referring to. I had the same question, but he doesn't address that. Just I'm more quoting what he said,
right.
indirectly.
Oh yeah, I'm not pushing you for an answer. Damn it, Tyler. Who's they?
Thank you.
But I'm curious. Who do you think is they?
I don't know.
I mean, the CIA.
I imagine it because it had to do with him finding out stuff with the money and things like that. It was all the Doge stuff.
Yeah,
so
it would be stuff with Doge.
I imagine he found some waste that was probably going to someone that
it probably proves that the money actually went back in their pockets. I would imagine.
Here's what I think. I do believe this. I think, and this applies to both parties, all parties. They get these people.
I think they've all robbed.
They get these people. Think about this. If you really want, this doesn't apply to everybody. There are exceptions. But if you really want to be a U.S. senator, you want to whatever, you got a big ego. And most people with big egos, like ultra big egos, have like some weird.
Tom Tuberville doesn't have a big ego.
Like I said, they've got some weirdness about them. And so they get them to D.C. This is my theory. They get them to D.C. They have like their little orientation stuff. And they wine them and they dine them and they figure they've already got the intel on them. They know whether they sleep around or they like little boys or they like whatever. They like underage girls or they like
took a dark turn.
What drugs? No, I'm totally serious.
Oh yeah,
I'm totally serious.
It's true. Yeah.
So they get them a little intoxicated. Put the temptation in front of them.
Put them on that Sting's plane.
No, they put them in a hotel room somewhere in D.C. The room's bugged. It's got cameras. Everything's right there. Everything's recorded. And so they then
own you
because they say to you, all right, so here's the deal, Senator, Congressman, Congresswoman.
Go on being
here's
senator.
the deal. Your whole family can see this video or they can't. And if they don't, you play ball with us, and over the course of time, you're going to make more money than you ever dreamed. And in that moment, they make that decision, pretty easy decision at that point, and they go down that road, and as they go down that road, two things happen. They completely lose any morality. They get richer than hell. They get trapped by the money. Most people spend what they make, no matter what. Look at athletes, right, that make $100 million and 2 years later they're broke. It happens all the time. AJ talked about it. That happens to politicians too. And so you've got them. These lobbyists and the big, all these people, they have them. They're corrupt. And once they're corrupted, I think that's why I always say with Josh Hendrickson and I talk about this, I don't think the deep state is this secret dark thing. I think it's this big organism right in front of you. That's just, they're compromised. They're human.
My tinfoil hat, or I guess my opinion, which doesn't matter, but I guess it's my opinion on everything, is I got to come back to two things. One I know for a fact. I asked somebody that was running for, I knew that I'm very close to, that was in the world of politics. And I said, what is your goal in this thing? Do you eventually one day want to run for president of the United States? And the quote, this was about 15 years ago, the quote out of his mouth was, no, I don't want to run for president of the United States because they do not have enough power. And that person has had a career in D.C. All right, two is I always come back with this Elon thing. I've been waiting on this to fall. This is what I personally think with this Elon thing, my opinion.
Okay.
Is I go back to the great American movie treasure, Independence Day.
Okay.
Where they say, that they're like, somebody's like, they were in Area 51 and the president goes, I mean, hell, how do we pay for all this? He goes, hell, you know how you pay for it. Hammers don't cost $1,500. They cost $50. So instead of paying $50 for a hammer, you're paying $1,500 for a hammer. I think Elon, as he started digging for waste, found money that was being bogusly used to cover in a budget to pay for other stuff.
Oh, of course.
And I think that's what he was referring to, is those kind of operations that they would, in my opinion.
I think Trump's kind of pointing that out without saying it, by pointing out some of the most ridiculous things that they've spent millions of dollars on, like for the hamster deal, training for whatever it is that they said, trans, whatever.
Uncovered the real waste, but I think some of the stuff they won't report or won't uncover because it probably is being used for other stuff. You know
I was thinking is, that probably that money for something like that probably never went, and that was just a cover to go in somebody's pocket for some kind of crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I viewed it, because I mean they gotta pay for all that stuff somehow, because Area 51 doesn't exist, right? It's not on any budget. It's a budget line that says Area 51. So how in the hell is it getting paid for? You know what I mean? Like it's not anywhere public. So those things got to be paid for somehow.
Last thing, I'll let you go. Y'all can count this as a life advice plug if you want to. I got a young child, and I got another one going to be here in probably about anywhere from a week to 2 weeks from now, depending on how it goes.
Let's go.
Congrats.
And, appreciate it, guys. And my job, I'm super busy, stay busy all the time. A lot of times I'm even working late and on phone emails and sales and everything. And I'm trying to start making it where I know it's okay not to answer that email at 8 o'clock at night or take that phone call at 8 o'clock at night. I know Neal's mentioned this before about trying to put stuff work away. Well, it's kind of some advice to kind of do that, because it's hard. Because I mean, it's when you're, especially what I do with sales and everything.
It's really hard.
It's extremely hard. I'm trying.
All right, let me ask you a question. Do you work in a job where you know when something's urgent or it can wait? Like,
most.
I know when somebody. Example, when I was working,
it's more of that. If I don't, in my head, how I work, I don't consider myself great in sales. But when I started took this, I was like, I'm just going to outwork every fucking body. That was my opinion. I was going to outwork everybody.
Great way to do it.
In my mind, if I don't do this, there might be somebody else that will. That's, even though I've developed relationships, I've grown this way bigger than I ever thought I could. But that's kind of in my head. That's my thought. Even though if I don't answer at 8 p.m. and then I just answer first thing in the morning, it's probably really not going to matter.
Yeah. So for me, like I always had in coaching, it was like if the head coach called me, I answered it all the time, no matter what time it was. I had some coaches that abused that more than others. And then, so I mean, I don't care what, I've gotten called at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. My players, when I coached, if my players had my number, obviously, and then I had them on when I always would put my phone in sleep mode. But when you're in sleep mode or whatever it is, do not disturb mode or whatever it is, the emergency contacts where favorites come through, So I had very few people that were allowed to do that. So my suggestion, which I think worked out well for me, is the people who are very important to you need to know, have a time that you turn that thing in do not disturb mode. And the only people that are going to get through to you are the people in your favorites. Everything else goes to voicemail or a text, and then that's, I don't think in the business world, I don't think that's unreasonable.
Good advice. I get that. I never even thought about doing that.
My family and the head coach. So if a coordinator called me, got to go to the next guy.
Sure.
I'm not, now if it was, depending on who the coordinator was, some coordinators I would take their calls. Some of them I wouldn't take their call at 3 p.m. But no, some were that never called me ever. I had a coordinator one time that decided that if and this was a great one. So Matt's the one that started this. Matt Luke started this, but it wasn't me that he would do. And then I started doing it to the travel people too. If they ever put me on a 6 a.m. flight out of Memphis after I flew in at like 9 the night before.
Oh, that sucks.
That means I have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I said, cool. And I told him, I said, fine. I would call the person who booked that flight, and I would talk to them the entire way from my house to the airport.
No, you didn't.
I swear I did. I swear I did. You put me on a 6 a.m. flight out of Memphis.
You ain't lying. You petty as fuck.
I am. If you put me on a 6 a.m. flight,
those flights are tough.
Because
that's
the
only time that airport's busy too.
I'll be like, look, I mean, I wouldn't have to be there like 2 in the afternoon or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired. Like, people don't understand. You're tired in recruiting because you have to be on all the time. And it's like, la, 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 drive to the next stop. La, 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 get on the airplane, go to the next stop. La, 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 la. You have to be on all the time. And after 6 weeks of it, you're tired as hell. And they would be like, you'd come in on a Tuesday night. They were like, yeah, we're gonna fly you back home so you can see your wife for the first time in 3 weeks. We'll fly you home Tuesday night at 9:00. So you get home at 9. You get to the airport at 9:00. You get home at 10:30, and then you got to be back in your car at 3:30 to get back to the airport to go fly to God's nowhere.
That's romantic, cool. Right there.
Oh yeah,
I bet Erin loved that. I bet she was like, "Welcome home, Tyler."
Shit, that was like 4 hours and 45 minutes too much time. All right, so whenever, so I was like, fine, you don't put me on a 6 a.m. flight. I didn't need to be on 6 a.m. flight. I asked to go on like the 10:30 or 11 o'clock flight. I just said, okay, cool. And I would call them at 3:30 in the morning. And we'd talk all the way to the airport. I'd be like, all right, I'll holler at you later.
That's great.
Yeah, it happened.
Well, all right, guys, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Have a good night.
Good luck with the baby.
Congratulations.
All right, thank y'all. Thank you.
Petty. Austin, thank you for the super chat. He says, imagine. He says, imagine listening to this conversation saying we should talk about sports instead. Couldn't be me. This is beyond entertaining. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate that.
Football.
Hey, caller, who's this?
That's great timing because this is Austin.
Hey, what's up, man?
I tried calling earlier, and the dude who mysteriously hung up on y'all, that was me. I was in a dead spot.
Okay.
Guilty.
All right.
We forgive you.
My bad. So I kind of want to piggyback off what we just talked about. And Neal, quick question. Y'all on the show today, you made mention about how you were on the elevator at University of Arkansas 5 years ago during the pandemic, and you were alluding to the story, and you kind of cut yourself off. Before I go into anything else, I'm just curious, like, is there a reason why? I just
no, it's just because I've said it so many times, so I sometimes I feel like I'm just being overly redundant. I was on the so to set the stage for you,
set the mood.
It's a female only dorm. I want to say it's 8 stories. It might be 9. It's right there, really close to the main heart of the U of A campus. It's an old dorm, but the freshman girls love living in it because it's kind of tradition, etc. Okay. Big dorm, old elevators.
Old man in elevator.
Stop. This is the Saturday of COVID.
Like right when it hit?
Yep.
Like, so a week after the tournament?
It was the Saturday that would have been the day of the SEC semifinal.
Oh, so like
boom.
Days. Okay.
So Campbell had come home on Thursday. She'd arranged Caroline's birthday is March the 13th.
Okay.
She had arranged a surprise party on
Evan Ingram released.
Oh, how about that? She'd arranged a surprise party for Caroline and was coming here to host it. Okay.
Okay.
And this was on Thursday. And by the time she got here on Thursday, that was the day that everything got canceled.
Yeah.
By the time she got here on Thursday, she'd gotten wind that the University of Arkansas had shut it down for the semester. Everything was going to be Zoom only. Okay.
Ain't waste no time.
So yeah, I mean, I think Ole Miss did it like an hour later. I mean, everybody was doing the same thing. Yeah. So, we had to get back in the car and drive to Fayetteville on Friday because they had to be out of the dorm by like Sunday. So we went back up on Friday.
I've never heard this story, by the way.
Okay. So we go.
Yeah, me either. That's why.
All right. So I've said it so many times that I always feel like I'm telling the same stories over and over, which is kind of like the sign of you becoming an old man. We go up on Friday, and Campbell's roommate, a girl named Parker, Parker's parents both went to Ole Miss, met through the show. The show's amazing how many people I've met through the show. And so Campbell and Parker got back up, and they had one last night in the dorm with all of their friends. And Robert, Parker's dad, and I guess we went to dinner, but we didn't know what to do. Like, I was listening to this podcast on the way up. It's like, everyone's going to die. And you don't know.
Yeah.
At that point,
Back then we thought, yeah.
At that point, you don't really know. And so do we shake hands? What do we do? I mean, I feel fine. You feel fine, whatever. So the next morning, it's kind of a rainy day in Fayetteville, and we go to move all of her stuff out. And that was quite a process, as you might imagine,
Right.
because she wasn't exactly planning in the middle of March to be moving out. So her stuff was kind of disorganized, and we're doing it, and she's very upset, and people are coming into the room crying. And so as the morning went along, we kind of weren't together, really. I was just like, hey, I'm going to take this down to the truck. I'll be back up. They weren't really enforcing the visitation rules at that point because it's borderline chaos. And see you, Aka. And so I'm on the elevator. It's just me and this one girl. And Campbell's room was on the 6th floor, I think. So we're going down, and the girl looks over at me. She's a very plain-looking girl. I'm not criticizing. Wasn't the prettiest girl in the world. I'm sure it doesn't matter. The point was this. No, but the point was this. You'll understand why I say that in just a minute. She says to me, she goes, I don't understand. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I don't understand what's happening. And I said, well, pandemic, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, this is the first place. And she said it, didn't I? That she goes, this is the first place I've ever had friends.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at her and I went, no, it's not. And she went, yeah, it is. I was never one of the cool kids.
Mm.
She goes, I have friends here. And I knew what she meant because I'd heard Campbell's stories about the dorm, right? This was a bunch of 18-year-old girls from, Arkansas and Texas and Louisiana and Tennessee and Missouri and Kansas and Oklahoma. They have that bordering state policy that's genius. And they have a whole lot of kids from states that touch Arkansas. Yep. And she was on one of those floors. And what you know now is that maybe it was during the day, maybe it was at night or whatever, but a lot of the girls would leave their dorm rooms open. And people would just go in and out of rooms. They had fun. They watched shows. They talked. They did whatever 18-year-old girls do, right? And she had friends. She was accepted. She'd found her place. She was happy. She knew that was going to come to an end, but that wasn't supposed to come to an end for another 2 months. Right. She wasn't prepared for it.
That's freaking heartbreaking.
Yeah, and so we ripped that away from her. And so I was smart enough to know that she wasn't the only one.
No.
Think of how many kids, how many young people we did that to. And I mean, look, Campbell went from, and she'll own this, Campbell went from having her freshman year from August through the middle of March on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 12. She loved it, man. Everything was great. The academics were hard. She had pushed through. She'd figured out how to study. She'd figured out time management. She'd made tons of friends. She was involved in her sorority. She was doing great. Right. She was thriving, as the people say. She was thriving. Like, she would call home and every call was happy. How's it going? Great. What are you doing this weekend? We're going to wherever. They went to Missouri one weekend with some friends. Some friend had a lake house. They went to Texas. They went to I know she'd gone to a couple of the football games. They'd gone to the game in Arlington, which is at Arkansas is a big game. They went to Arlington. She had a great weekend there. She had gone to all sorts of stuff. She had a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
And it was over. And within weeks, I mean, she was in therapy. I mean, that happened all over the place. And
did you ever find out what happened to that girl?
Nope. It has haunted me. I have prayed for that girl so many times. I don't know her name. I don't know anything about her. Did
Campbell know her?
No, because I couldn't even describe her. And there was hundreds of girls in that dorm, so there's no way she knew everybody, right? I mean, it was just it was bad, and we did that, and I believe that was done intentionally. I believe it was done with a complete lack of care, and I believe that there's an apology owed. I mean, I really do. I have
at the least.
At the least. I have really struggled with it. And when I struggle with it, when I think about it, for whatever reason, it's that interaction that always comes back.
I've never heard you say that.
Probably because I have a hard time doing it without breaking into tears.
Yeah, that's bad.
Because the girl looked at me, she didn't know me. I was just a man. I was just some guy who was a father of another girl. And in that moment, she just said, I don't understand. And then she said, this is the first place I've had friends. Think about that. Throw all the rivalries and sports and bullshit out.
Yeah, that's terrible.
She had friends. And we ripped that away from you. And if you think about it, like Campbell's whole sophomore year, thank God. You talk about thank God. At Arkansas, to get into the K.O. house, you have to get high on the point system as a freshman to live there as a sophomore. And Campbell was so happy there that she was there all the time and got the points.
Right.
And Arkansas, like Ole Miss did too, everybody did, because you had to be virtuous. You had to show everybody you cared. You couldn't have a set. Went all Zoom. Ask me what kids learned on all Zoom. How to cheat. They learned how to cheat. They learned how to cheat. That's what they learned. But thank God she was in that house with all those other girls, and they ended up having a great year. But if you didn't have the points to be in the house,
then you're screwed.
You just went all year, your sophomore year of college, your junior year of college, your freshman year of college, on all Zoom. And then think about sixth graders, seventh graders. They don't have cars. They can't get in their car and drive over across town and go see their friends. They were stuck in a house. School at that age is more than education. It's your social system.
I think we went, if I remember it right, I think we went from, all right, it was March, obviously, early March. What day did you say?
It was March 11th on that Wednesday night was when Trump came out and shut the country down.
We went 6 weeks here, 6 weeks before, and they didn't go back to school, obviously.
Yeah.
But my younger ones, they play sports. I think we were able to go back and start playing baseball. That was my favorite, is when they tried to socially distance. I will never. That happened in one practice.
It happened to Carson's. I wrote about this in Carson's thing. It happened to him. His club coach was kind enough and got it enough to, even though their season was canceled because you couldn't have a soccer tournament. My God, think of all the
We started having baseball tournaments in May.
Well, good for you. They wouldn't do it in soccer because soccer can still be a little lefty.
Same crowd.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better, but yeah. But they couldn't. They couldn't do that. And anyway, he organized practices for the guys. Yeah. And they'd go practice. Well, when you practice for 30 minutes in soccer, you kind of have to drink some water. You're running a lot, And during the water breaks, apparently, I know this is shocking to you guys, apparently middle school boys in water breaks goofed around, and they didn't wear their masks.
Yeah,
and some of the mask police out at M-Trade turned them in.
We practiced at M-Trade, but I guess the point I was trying to make was with Knox and Brock, they were able to get back into practicing, doing stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
Jackson didn't play anything, so it was harder on him.
Yeah.
But that group, a lot of this, which is great, is like you go see them. They played last week. Lafayette and Oxford played. Like our entire baseball team is now Lafayette's baseball team, and there's 2 on our team from the same team. But we cranked it back up in May.
Yeah,
I think tournaments. First one
I
was
should
in.
have just lied about Carson's age and put him on your team.
First one was in. Maybe it was Amory. It was the first tournament, but they don't play that stuff here. I mean, baseball. The baseball group was good, but I can see the other ones being a little.
The last couple of years, Austin, this time of year has triggered me a little bit, and I've been aware of it. And this year is the first year that I'm this close to the tournament, and I'm not kind of triggered. I'm not kind of pissed off.
Why? What's changed?
No, I've figured out how to I've figured out how to deal with some stuff, and maybe November the 5th probably helped.
Because you would be 100, Neal.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, I would have hated that bitch.
If it gone the other way, you'd be on fire, triggered right now.
Yeah, because they would.
I don't think Neal's the only one, by the way.
No, he's not. But I know why he's. I can tell you why he's not as triggered.
Yeah.
I can tell you what would have increased that.
Yeah, I picked up my phone on Tuesday night when the speech started, and Laura, and she was right. I'm giving her full credit. She said, "Don't," and I didn't. I just put it away. I just didn't. Because Tyler texted me later, and he's like talking about the Auburn A&M game, and I was like, I put my phone away because there's a lot of temptation, and I don't need to tweet right now.
That's great. Well, I can tell. I can tell your alcohol intake too when you tweet at nighttime. By the way, I can tell if it's a political tweet around politics. There could be not as much alcohol involved. If it's a random Wednesday,
there's a chance I opened a bottle.
It's somewhere between the 8:30 and 9:30 hour, somewhere in that 60-minute window. And it's Neal going after some Twitter guy that I've never heard of before. He says something stupid. Yeah. That's the wine tweeting.
Yeah, or the bourbon.
Can I tell y'all an honest to God story? Just putting the bow on that topic real quick about COVID and all that time during that. This is an honest to God real story. I'll be really brief. I was a junior at Ole Miss, kind of going off what you were talking about a second about college kids and COVID, Neal. I was a junior at Ole Miss. I'm not going to out the professor's name because, honest to God, I don't remember. And number two, I wouldn't want to out. Good. Like I said, honest to God, I don't remember. And number two, even if I did, I wouldn't want to get her in trouble. But that being said, I remember it was the last class I had before spring break that year during the middle of the pandemic. Like it had just started to get kind of heavy in the United States, and I'll never forget. This was a class for a minor I was taking, and halfway through the course, we kind of transitioned everything into it was basically a sociology course, and which is a mistake in and of itself. But I digress. And I'll never forget. She puts on this movie right before, like it was a Thursday night before the spring break holiday. And she puts on this movie. It's an hour long. It took up the whole class about the Spanish flu of 1918 or whenever it was. And at the end of it, she punches the off button on the TV. And me and my buddies are in the back of the class just watching this thing. And she stands up and she goes, "I think you guys have just been in this class for the last time. Because this stuff is coming our way." Honest to God, true story. This was all a week before it really hit America. That is a honest to God story.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I got no idea how she knew. I don't know what was going on, but that all happened the Thursday night before Trump came out on the 11th and basically shut the country down. And I'll never forget. I had so many friends, and I had so many people, like just locally here, that girl that you were talking about, that hit home with me because I saw that in real time. It was, heck, to a degree, I was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. I mean, and by the way, thanks for telling that story. That's a great story.
Yeah, I just, sometimes I think about that girl and I hope she's okay. I hope I don't know her. If I could see her, I would and know she was okay, I would be thrilled. I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's fine, but I just that sucked. That was one of those
100.
That was one of those things that It really resonated. It that whole drive back, I got out of Fayetteville probably an hour and a half before Campbell did, and that whole drive back was that was bad. That was a bad drive back. It was raining, and I was thinking about, and hell, at that point, I mean, I was kind of naive, really, but there's so much I remember about. Isn't that funny? Like I can't remember like what I ate for dinner yesterday, but I can remember so much about those few days. On that Thursday, Ole Miss played on the Wednesday night. The tournament was supposed to get they scheduled the tournament for Thursday, with no fans.
Yes, I remember.
And
I was there. I was in Nashville.
Andy Kennedy, at the time, was working for ESPN SEC Network, and he sent me a text where I texted him like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he texted me back with, "I think they're about to cancel this thing." I was like, "The whole thing?" He goes, "Yeah, the whole thing." And literally, someone else, it wasn't Andy, someone else in the sports world, and I can't remember exactly who it was. It was a TV person, sent me a text that goes, You're not going to believe what's going to happen in the next hour. And I went, "What?" And he said, "Everything's getting canceled." I said, "What do you mean getting canceled? For the weekend?" He goes, No, for the whole season. They're killing everything.
That's wild, man.
And then, so, I mean, not that sports matters like that, but I mean, we went through that whole summer thinking, all right, well, what do you do if you're running a site that's built on sports if there are no sports? And I was smart enough to know, I mean, because there were some people that were naive, like, well, they'll still play baseball. And I was like, look, dude, if they don't play football, they're not playing shit. Okay?
Right.
If they don't play football, they're not playing anything. I mean, anything. And
Iowa baseball isn't going to play if Iowa football doesn't play.
No. I mean, hell, Ole Miss baseball's not playing if Ole Miss football doesn't play. I mean, that's not happening. And so, it was like, what do you do? And as we went into that summer, the summer is what made me so crazy. I was fine until, like, I was all in on the, hey, we got to do what we got to do, 2 weeks, whatever. I mean, I was naive until the protest.
Yeah.
The protest, where I was like, well, hold up, wait a minute. And once that happened, I was like, oh wow, this is bad.
Ain't no social distancing going on.
Yeah, they don't appear to be all that socially distanced, and nobody seems to be alarmed.
Nobody's dying.
And that's when I was like, oh, this is bad. And yeah, it was crazy. Remembering that is.
So I was recently fired, right?
Yeah, you had been.
I recently fired.
Yeah.
And so I did not know what home life was like. All right. So I know this is going to be really bizarre what I'm about to tell some of you people. But every day, because the kids are out of school, okay, wife doesn't work. I'm sitting there and I'm like, every day felt like a off-season Sunday. Air day.
Yeah.
Air day. I mean, there's like no ball games were on because it's off-season Sunday, no ball games really to watch.
Yeah.
We'd go hang out at the pool in the backyard, whatever it was, but the kids were home. We're playing in the yard. It was like an off-season Sunday every day on repeat, just loop, like Groundhog Day. Every day was like, I don't really have to get up for anything in the morning because I don't work. I'm on vacation. I'm on paid vacation. Thanks, Ross Bjork. On paid vacation. All right. So I'm getting paid. I don't have any job to do. Wife doesn't work. My kids are home from school. Every day was a off-season Sunday, just on rinse and repeat. Wake up whenever I freaking wake up or whenever the kids get up, do whatever we do, and then go about it. Now, that's why, all kidding aside, what positive of COVID not COVID, but of that time, is that's when my family, we got really into UFC.
Oh.
Because it was one of the very first sporting events that was on TV.
Yeah.
And so me and my sons would watch UFC. And they were going a lot. And then I went to the first ever event that had people in the stands. Where was it? Talladega, Neal. That should make you like Talladega even more.
Well, it actually does.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Tyler. I'm so sorry, Neal. I didn't mean to cut you off. Tyler, were you at the Talladega race when the whole Bubba Wallace thing went down? Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm sure I was. I don't know. I can't remember what year that was. I've been to them all. I don't know. I was at the one I'm referring to. So Scoops, they had this thing. You'll see it when you get there. It's like 150,000 seats, and they were selling tickets, and it was like you had to buy a whole row. Okay,
so ridiculous.
And there were 3 rows in front of you and 3 rows behind you that had no one in it. They only allowed 5,000 people in.
Bless their hearts.
And so our buddy Greg from the other show that sponsors the show that competes with studio, that's where he gets all. So he hooked us. He got us access to go buy these tickets. So me and my dad, he's not listening because he probably didn't know him on the show. My dad's like at the time, so this is what, 5 years ago. He's 65, 66 years old. And these tickets, Neal, we had to walk. They were up there. So my dad's having to walk up these bleachers. He's cussing so bad. He's like, "Why? There's empty seats everywhere."
Yeah.
And look, like you had to sit in your seat. Okay. So there wasn't even, when we got there, we're going to a whole section of 5,000 seats and everybody there. And we had to walk to like 2 rows to the top. But they allowed 5,000 people into these 150,000 seats. And so I was there, sitting there.
How about that?
That was in May. That was in May, I think, of 20. And so they started, but I will say this, and you'll also see this. It sure didn't help the parking situation out a lot. Because, brother, you were in. You didn't have to wait on. I mean, they parked us right next to the track in like free public parking right next to the track. They had, it was easy to get in and out. If you needed a cold diet Miller, you could go get those too pretty easy. So, interesting.
One last Talladega question. I'll hop off, Coach. I got to ask. So what are y'all gonna do? What are y'all gonna do in the event that there's a rain delay and the race gets moved to Monday?
Yeah, what are we gonna do in the event that there's a rain delay?
Well, technically, we're gonna be in town on Monday, so we'll be there.
We're gonna have a flight.
Good deal.
We'll go. Oh, that's right. We have a flight Monday. No, we probably won't be there Monday. Depends on what time.
Because
you guys aren't gonna be. Siskey and I are getting paid. We're getting flown somewhere and paid to speak to people.
How about that?
How about that? You talk about the American dream.
How about that?
People actually want us to come to them and speak.
They have no idea what they've got themselves into. None. I'll be on my best behavior, though. All kidding aside, I do have a serious question. They know what they're getting. They see this on the show. Yeah. Are we supposed to get up there and am I supposed to play a WWE character? Am I supposed to answer honestly? What are we supposed to do?
I think you're supposed to answer honestly.
Okay.
They want to talk about your career and things you've done and stuff.
Supposed to have my corporate face on?
Probably.
Like I run my day job?
Yeah.
Okay. I know people are like, this guy owns a freaking business.
Yeah, the people are like, that
showed up.
How?
It's amazing.
Guys, Coach Neal, guys, I'll let y'all keep going on the show. I'll let other people call in. Thank y'all so much for y'all's time.
Appreciate y'all.
Y'all know I got a lot of love for y'all. Y'all keep having a good show.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank
you. Yeah, I got a master's degree and everything.
I know. Both of us have master's degrees. That speaks. Hey, caller, who's this?
Hi, it's Norman from McGee. How's it going?
What's up, Norman?
Where are you from?
McGee.
McGee. Yep, McGee, Mississippi. How y'all?
Good.
All right, I got a question for you real quick before you get started.
All right.
What's the name of that burger joint I eat at when I went to recruit McGee?
Oh, that's Zips.
Zips may be the best hamburger I've ever had.
Oh, yeah?
In Zips in McGee, Mississippi.
How about that?
Did you get the battered fries or the onion rings?
Brother, I can't remember. I know that every time I went to McGee to recruit, though, I made about 45 minutes extra in my schedule so I could stop and eat at Zips.
Oh,
I ate it all, man.
I don't blame you.
I don't.
Hey, look,
Go ahead.
I got 2 questions real quick, okay? All right. First for you, Tyler. Okay, I'm a high school football coach, 22 years in.
Let's go.
And it still amazes me. I'm not going to say where I've coached at. I've been fortunate to have some success throughout the years. It still amazes me. People gave you grief for having binoculars out trying to find out what personnel grouping there is.
Me too.
I mean,
it
still blows my mind.
Still get it from time to time.
Oh my gosh.
That's always the go-to. That's always the go-to when they run out of stuff. When they run out of stuff to argue about, they bring up the binoculars.
I mean, do they not realize people steal signals all the time?
No, they do not. They also do not realize that I stole signals on the headset in the box for Ole Miss, and I've been on TV doing it. But I guess I was breaking the rules the next year. I wasn't breaking the rules when I was doing it for Ole Miss. You know my favorite? Have I ever told y'all my favorite scoops? My favorite sign stealing play when I was at the biggest effect that I had on a game at Ole Miss?
No.
Do you remember we beat Auburn the first year? Was our first conference win in 100 years?
In 12.
And you remember the Jeff Scott touchdown where everybody thought he was down and he kept on and he ran for a touchdown to win the game? I called him in cover 3 versus empty. I said they're running cover 3, which was I know I'm speaking Greek to you, Scoops. You don't want to run cover 3 versus empty.
No, of course not.
And he signaled. We lined up in empty, and he panicked, and he signaled in cover 3. And I yelled down to Freeze. He's going to play cover 3. He's going to play cover 3, cover 3. So Freeze went all verticals and brought Jeff Scott on a check down. There was nobody home because the mic carried 3 vertical. I know that.
Right, of course.
Yeah. And so there was nobody there. So he hit him for a check down, and he scored. We won the game.
Oh, how about that?
Oh yeah, we were.
But don't wear the fucking binoculars next year.
We were in the playoff game. I don't know. It's been a few years back, and I mean, we were able to get signals and determine when they was going to back out on the route and whether we were going to stay too high or roll one high or roll one high or stay too high. I mean, it happens. You know,
happens everywhere. Every team in America.
I'm telling. All right. Well, look, real quick. I want to get on the NASCAR thing, okay?
All right, let's go.
I've been a NASCAR fan since the early 90s, okay? Been to Talladega probably 10 or 12 times.
Let's go.
Daytona, been to Atlanta, okay?
All right.
I think, what type of shirt did you say you were going to get Neal to wear?
We're going. I still haven't figured it out yet. I'm trying to keep him safe. I want to get him I'm thinking about a Dick Trickle shirt. Because you can order all those, and I want something retro. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I was going to do the thing where we put Dale Earnhardt as overrated on there, but my man wants to be. I want to make sure he's comfortable in his first trip, which he will be. But I want to make sure.
And you don't want to deal with that wrath because I'll be living at your
base
heels.
I mean, you don't want to get him a shirt set up that says Earnhardt's gay.
God, no. No.
Yeah, no.
Come on now.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't think Neal understands that he's going to be perfectly fine. But we got some large individuals that will be with us, and we have security.
Hey, look, last thing real quick. I got to get off.
Great.
Legally.
Last thing, real quick. Okay, I heard you said you were at Talladega a few years back, and you said you were hanging out with a certain driver that was stone cold drunk, and the next day he's up the next morning qualifying.
Yep, there's
okay. You don't have to tell me that.
There's a chance maybe on our podcast when we get there. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. I've got one guess, and I'm just going to say the initials.
How about this?
Okay?
How about you guess 5 guys, and I will say if you got one of them or not.
I'm going to say the first one, Clint Boyer.
Okay. You going to guess some more?
Let's see, Clint Boyer. I'm going to say, I don't think Chase Elliott. I don't see him being like that. I'm not saying
he wasn't even
the day before a race.
He was a young pup when this took place. He may have been
okay. Give me the year range.
He may have been like around Chase's rookie year. So this would have been like 16, 15, 16. I'll tell you when it was. I can tell you that it was the weekend of the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather race. Fight. It was that weekend because we watched it on the TV that night. while we were partaking? Whatever year that.
Ryan Blaney.
Okay. Ryan Blaney. Who was the other one you said?
Okay. Clint Boyer.
Clint Boyer, Ryan Blaney. All right, give me 3 more.
Oh, God. Let me think. Wouldn't have been Bubba Wallace.
No, he wasn't racing then.
Oh, God. Around 16. Golly. Let me think. Do what?
There's 43 of them.
Michael Waltrip.
Michael Waltrip, will you want to count him?
Well, Michael Waltrip, he had already
he's probably
retired
done.
by then.
Yeah, he's probably done.
Yeah. Wouldn't have been Michael Waltrip. Ken Schrader, I would have said, but Ken Schrader retired years and years ago. Man, I can't think of any others.
I mean, this was the years of Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Ricky Stenhouse, Jeff.
Tony Stewart.
Okay.
Ricky Stenhouse. And it's been 16. Dale Jr. retired in 17, so it wouldn't have been Dale Jr.
Do you want to say?
Or it could have been, but I highly doubt it.
All right, pick one. Roll the dice. Jamie McMurray. There's all kinds of guys.
Clint Boyer. I don't know. I've said it.
We'll tell you this. I will tell you this.
2017.
It was the year the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight was that weekend. We watched it that Saturday night. The same night.
Okay.
The same
because I watched
that fight happened is the same night I'm referring to.
Oh my gosh.
The first one or the second one?
The very first one, the big one.
Oh, I don't know. You stumped me on this one. I was definitely thinking Clint Boyer.
2015.
2015 was the year.
2015. Is this person retired since then?
Yes.
Oh God.
You may get me just save you a little bit. I'm
yeah,
not.
This was
Dale Earnhardt won it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won.
I do, brother. I don't remember.
Okay.
I will say this: the person that I don't know if you remember the story. That there was a driver.
The top 10 was Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Paul Menard. Save big money at Menards.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr.,
mm-hmm.
Sam Hornish Jr.,
mm-hmm.
Ryan Newman,
Rocket Man,
Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, and Josh Wise.
All right, I will tell you this. I'll save you all the trouble. So the story, just for those who are just trying to catch up here.
Danica Patrick.
Danica, she was there.
She was 21st.
Oh, I got a story about that one. The driver was slammed. I'm talking about beyond hammered, like passed out on the floor of the RV at like 3 a.m.
Okay.
And got up the next morning at like, it was actually the night before on Friday night. Got up the next morning and qualified. Hammered. And, sir, you have already mentioned his name. He's one of the guys.
Who would that be?
I'm not going to say it. It's one of the guys you mentioned. That's why I said give me 5.
I think I've got a good idea on it.
I thought I was like, this guy just drove a car 190 miles an hour hammered. He's like, all you got to do is get on that yellow line and hold on. He says, just hammer down.
Real quick.
That's it.
I was actually at the Pepsi 400 the summer that Dale Jr. won after his father got killed. Probably the coolest thing I've ever been around in my life.
Yeah, I've been to Daytona one time. I went to the 400 in the summer. That would have been I was at Arkansas State at the time. It probably been 2009-ish, 9 or 10.
Okay.
I went one time. We took the kids to Disney World for vacation, and we flew into Orlando, and I talked my wife into going up to Daytona and watching the race before we went to.
Oh yeah. It's great. It's great. They're right.
She did not. Yeah. She was not for that.
But I'll say this: what you got to let Neal do is you go to the race, which I'm sure y'all seats are up higher. Which I mean, a lot of folks don't realize that NASCAR races, places like Talladega, the higher up the seat is, the better you can see, so the more cost.
The higher the seat, is, better seat in NASCAR.
But you need to get him down low, at least on the first or second row for the first 2 laps when they all come by at the first time. It is.
Usually what we do is, so we have, we'll have the hook. It's close to hometown. We got the hook up and all that stuff. But one of our sponsoring partners For the others, for McCready and Siskey, has a suite on the start finish line.
Oh yeah.
And then he's got seats in front of it that go down to the fence as low as you can go now. So we're going.
Oh yeah, that's great.
When Neal will that's usually when people go like even Neal will go, this is really fucking cool. When they wind them damn engines.
Oh yeah.
And they
100%.
the first time
100%.
at 200 miles an hour and they pass you so fast.
Yep.
That.
Yep.
And you can feel the heat off the cars. It makes you feel like
the heat, and you can smell the
joking
smell the racing fuel burning off. It
makes you feel like
you're
standing in the middle of the interstate and cars are driving by you, and you're like it gives you because you feel the way the track
100%
is you feel like you're going to get hit by the car, and they just disappear right in front of you. Like you're like, there's no way that fence is stopping this car. I mean, it's like that.
Okay.
Charlotte. I don't know if you've ever been to Charlotte. You can sit and
no, I hadn't want to go.
You can sit and turn forward in Charlotte. And the way their track is designed in Charlotte, when you come out of 3 and 4, it comes back in a little bit. And you can sit at a place in Charlotte that you're literally looking behind you. Like the cars are behind you. And they like come right in front of your face. I mean,
oh, wow.
It's 600 miles of that, brother. And some cold Diet Millers.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to go the year before last. I was supposed to go to Darlington, but ended up it was during spring ball and couldn't get away from it. And
I have a prediction here. I have a prediction that Neal will be just like everybody else that I've taken. I've done this like Neal acts like haven't done this before. I have taken probably over my lifetime 20 to 25 people that swore to death that they hated NASCAR, and all 20.
You never said I hate it.
And all 20 to 25 of them have left becoming a fan to where they will watch races and pick drivers. Like it's
absolutely.
You'll get it when you
absolutely.
And if we can get him when you really get sucked in, no Tucker, is when you get that close and they wreck.
Oh.
Your heart, like if you're wearing it gets you going. I was at the race when Keselowski and Carl Edwards got Keselowski
the flip
threw him into the stands. So and let me tell you who it was. He doesn't care. It's not a story or anything. Kevin Peoples, who's the defensive line coach or one of the defensive line coaches at LSU, he was with us. For whatever reason, we had 2 tickets that were separated from our group, and so he had to sit like 2 sections over from us. So him and his wife Rebecca went and sat over there, and they went that car went into the stands in his section.
Oh my God, that's not good.
No, people got hurt.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, we're not.
I know, I'm kidding.
Is that where he got out? Is that where he got out after the wreck and he ran to the finish line? Oh yeah, that's awesome.
That happened.
That was great.
Right in front. Like, I mean, it'd be like from
ran to the finish line like Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, he got out of his.
He did.
Into the finish line like Ricky Bobby. That was when that movie.
Absolutely.
The movie wasn't that old when that happened. This was in the late 2000s when this happened.
So he was reenacting the movie.
Yeah, then the place went nuts.
Would that have been? Let me ask you this: would that have been around the spring of 2009?
Yeah, that was a spring race because we couldn't go.
I was at that race. Sure was. Matter of fact, I think I was sitting in Anniston Tower, I believe.
Yep. Scoops is gonna get the whole track.
That is great.
So we got. He's getting spoiled rotten. He'll get to meet drivers. He'll get to go probably to the drivers meeting, getting a suite, getting the whole deal. The Speedway Boulevard at nighttime. Like Neal's gonna turn into a redneck before too long. We'll have him dipping and drinking Diet Millers before too long.
He'll enjoy it. I really wish Neal could have got to see it back in the 90s and the early 2000s when it was at its peak. I can remember the first race I went to was in the spring of 94. Back then it was a Winston 500. And I remember we would get on just on the north side of Birmingham and traffic would just shut down on race day. And it would take you hours to get into the race.
Yeah, so I grew up in Anniston, right? So it's the next town, towards Atlanta. And the whole art, that's where everybody because there's no hotels. I guess there's one now. You either have to stay in Birmingham or you have to stay in Anniston. And so those, our town multiplied by like 5 times every single race. So when racetrack
isn't there like I guess it's near Anniston or somewhere around there, like a big lake or like a river you cross where it's
so you got
kind of it's on 59.
on 50. There's one on 20. Once you get out of Birmingham, you're getting towards it's Riverside. It's right Pell City. It's right
Okay.
right after Pell City.
Got you. Well, look, man, I just wanted to mess with y'all a little bit about that. You'll have a good time, Neal. You'll enjoy it. You'll come back a NASCAR fan, and you'll want to go back. So.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
All right. See you, man. Bye.
All right, boys and girls, we're gonna call it an evening there. I need to get organized for tomorrow. Listen, you'll love this. Carson's gonna be thrilled when he hears this. It's Aka's first NBA game. Yeah. All right, caller, hang on. You're gonna be our last caller. Hang on. This is the injury report. We're going to see Portland, Oklahoma City tomorrow night.
It looks extensive. There's a lot of names on it.
This is Aka's first NBA game. He's very excited. For Portland, Denny, can't say his name. Denny Advia is questionable. Has a left quad contusion. DeAndre Ayton out. Delano Banton out. Jeremy Grant questionable. Matisse Thybulle out. Robert Williams III out. Oklahoma City Thunder.
So they got a 5-man rotation.
Oh, wait. Just wait. Oklahoma City Thunder. Brendan Carlson, probable. Lugens Dort, out. You got right patellofemoral soreness. Yes, he's soreness. Alex Dukas, out. D-League 2A. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, out.
We just talked about he played all the time.
Out, and the reason is rest. Isaiah Hartenstein, out. Nasal fracture re-injury. Chet Holmgren, questionable. Right lower leg. Dylan Jones, probable. AJ Mitchell, he's out. He's been out for a while. Nikola Topic, he's missed the whole season.
You're like, yeah, this
out.
is legit.
Well, those are legit, yeah. Kaysen Wallace, out. Right knee contusion. Jalen Williams, the Santa Clara Jalen Williams, out. Right wrist sprain. So, in other words, the Thunder is like, look, we played Denver on Sunday. We're punting this game. We have a 12-game lead. I get it. From a basketball standpoint, I totally get it.
You can now get your tickets on Vivid Seats for $2.
This is the thing, right? This is the thing. You get fans. This is why fans buy tickets months in advance,
right.
And then nobody plays, and they're like, "This is stupid. I'm not doing this." That is the problem. It's it's the only sport. I guess baseball gets a little of it because 162 games. It's kind of built in that guys are going to miss,
but they don't miss that much.
No,
not position players.
This is the kind of thing that you're like, oh, I totally. I'm not. And from a basketball standpoint, as a guy who follows the Thunder, I get it. Like, yeah, you're winning the West. You're the 1 seed. You just played at Memphis. You got Denver on Sunday and Monday. Then you got a road trip to Boston and Philly and whatever. I get it, but like. Dude, it's a home Friday night. Fans are coming, right? It's fascinating. It really is.
At least in baseball, that it's going to be the day. It's the getaway day on a day game after a 2-game series or something. You're going to get a different catcher and shit like that. But you're still going to get the pitchers are going to pitch in the rotation. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, caller, what's up?
Hey guys, it's Vibin.
Hey, Vibin.
What it is?
What up? How are y'all?
Good. Just kind of wrapping up here on what's been a pretty long Thursday. Got.
I was about to say, do I need to make this quick, or y'all got a couple more minutes?
We got a couple minutes. We're gonna make it kind of quick. You will be the last caller.
Okay. Well, to add to Neal's point, I think I already told him and Chase. My company has season tickets for Pelicans games, and the first game I won the tickets for was in November. I took my brother-in-law, my nephew. And my nephew, who's a huge basketball junkie, he was so excited to see Jokic. It was versus Denver. And Joker didn't play, Zion didn't play, and Brandon Ingram didn't play. And that was in the month of November. So that was kind of a bummer for him. He was a little annoyed.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, I can remember going to a Hawks Cavaliers game. It was the year that I want to say it was the year that Ole Miss was in the Peach Bowl, and we went with some friends, and the Cleveland was there, and LeBron didn't play, and it was like, God, we probably wouldn't have come if we'd known he wasn't going to play. It was like that. that kind of thing. And look, I get guys missing games. On the other side, like again, from I watched the Thunder. The Thunder are 62 games into the season. They have a bunch of guys that are banged up a little bit. They're going to win the West. They're going to be the 1 seed in the playoffs. It's more important for them to get healthy than it is to beat Portland on Friday night. Frankly, beating Portland on Friday night doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I get it. But to your casual fan that you're trying to draw in, it's a turnoff. I understand both things. I'm engaged enough in it to be able to go, but do I understand the organizational decision to sit guys? I do completely.
82 games, too many games. Does that fix the problem?
I don't know. You know, it's.
I mean, because you look at college, well, they're playing like 30-something
games. Yeah. I mean, 82 games is a lot of games, and you get back to backs like the Thunder.
So that's the thing, right? For me, in college.
I think the Thunder have played 9 games in 13 days. That's a lot of flights, and
the only time you play back-to-back games in college, the only time
is the tournament,
is conference tournaments or the preseason Maui Invitational stuff. Even the NCAA tournament, you don't play back-to-back days.
Yeah. I get it, but I don't know how you explain that like to the 8-year-old boy that's going to his first game.
Oh yeah, I mean,
who's just got an SGA jersey for Christmas, and this is the ticket that he was going to, right? I mean,
the most disappointed I've ever been in my life, ever. I'd always, this, Tiger Woods is my guy. I wanted to go see Tiger Woods play. So I booked a plane ticket. Me and my wife went to New York.
Oh, wow.
To the U.S. Open to watch Tiger Woods play in the U.S. Open. My man missed the cut on Friday.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
He missed the cut. It's like at that time was one of the first cuts he'd missed.
Yeah.
This was before all the craziness in like a gazillion years. He missed a cut. I did get to see him in Augusta last year though. So it made up for it. So there you go. I got to see him before he shut it down.
I do kind of worry as someone who actually enjoys the NBA. I mean, I really don't have a team. Like, I'll cheer for the Pels, but I'm nowhere near as emotionally invested in the Pels as I am at the Saints, which, by God, my brother last night. Tyler, I want to ask you this, by the way. My older brother, who is just so fandom with the New Orleans Saints, it's not even funny. He was trying to convince me that I need to emotionally invest again because of how badass this coaching staff Kellen Moore is putting together.
Well, I'm a little partial because my guy's on it.
Who's your guy?
Nuss.
Bo Davis?
Nuss and Bo Davis. I got 2 dudes on it. So I'm a little partial. I'm a little partial. Look, they're going to be they're in salary cap hell, obviously.
And that's exactly what I told them. Now I don't think a good coach. I don't know. You got to have one of the best coaching staffs on the planet to get out of that situation.
Well, I think they got some players. They're just aging, right? So I think if they hit,
they don't have any value.
They got. So you're gonna have to, and that's the whole reason Derek Carr's still there, right? It's because if they cut Derek Carr, they can't sit there with $50 million in dead cap. So when they're $57 million over, so you might as well just get what you can get out of him. I wouldn't be surprised if you get. I think they're going to go quarterback. I think you're going to get one of the quarterbacks that's in this draft. I think they'll get them relatively early.
Please don't. I don't want to do that to Dart.
I don't know what pick. I mean, look, what pick do the Saints have?
Oh, I don't know. I think they got to be in the first.
I mean, it depends on all that. I think Seattle's in the market. Obviously, like I say, this is like everybody that like, oh, the quarterbacks are going here. The Giants are doing this at quarterback. It's all dependent on what these free agents do, right? With Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson,
right?
Just wherever they go, that's going to kind of settle. It's like if Russell Wilson and Justin Fields dip and go, then you're going to get there. Now the Steelers are going to be in the market, right? So when all the free agent quarterback gets settled, but I think the Saints are in the perfect position to go draft a quarterback and see if they can develop one. And they're going to have other needs, obviously, but they're in the perfect position, maybe in the second round or maybe in the third round. But I think they will take a quarterback in this draft at some point in time to kind of sit him behind Derek Carr and develop him. So I hope. I think Jackson Dart's in this class. I think Quinn Ewers is in this conversation. I hope they go somewhere where they're not forced to play right away with a bad team.
Same.
If they can if they can go through the year, I mean, it's proven they can go through a year of development. Now, if you get on a good team, that's a different story. But I'd like to see them get somewhere and develop and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm fascinated how it's going to play out. I just think the Saints are in such a terrible situation right now. Self-created, by the way. I mean,
I think Dallas is going to go running back early, but I think Dallas will take a quarterback this year.
If they draft Judkins, that's going to be hilarious. I don't know why I find that amusing. I just think it's funny.
He's moving up boards. He's moving up.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Look, I get why he was not a member of this past season's roster, but at the same time, the people that immediately were like, oh, you know, he's not a loss at all. They'll get someone to replace that production. I was like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is they didn't get anybody to even try to replace the production. They kind of used what they had the year before, and you can't fit a square peg into a round hole. Two different backs. They didn't get a guy to replace Judkins. They got a guy they thought could replace the production, but those are two different types of players, which forces you to change the type of offense you're trying to run if you're going to be productive. Like, Quinshon's a downhill, put your foot in the ground and break tackle guy, and, the other one wasn't.
Right. Neal, so I'm riding a little bit of an emotional high right now. Yours truly kind of got ballsy on the Ole Miss Tennessee game last night.
Yeah.
And Tyler can actually speak to this because Tyler, wasn't it last year I messaged you about the Criteria Club thing, and I told you I was thinking about just putting 20 on like a string of games one night, and I ended up putting 100 on it, and that son of a bitch hit. I ended up winning like $250, $300.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah. So I do enjoy sports betting, but I'm usually the guy I'm just gonna put $20, here, $20 there. Like I'm not the guy that's gonna throw $1,000 down and be like, I'm taking Ole Miss. But I saw that the line opened at plus 3.5. The whole country was taking Tennessee, and the line got down to at one point, I think 2. And
yeah, it dropped quick.
Pardon my French. I just looked at my phone screen and I just said, fuck it.
Let's go.
And I put 100 on the Ole Miss money line, and then I doubled down after I also doubled down on a couple vodka drinks and put 100 on the Ole Miss to cover the spread.
Oh, nice night.
Yeah, and I was already up a decent amount.
That paid you $220.
$215.
Yeah.
I got it at I think plus 115, which at that point I was like, man, I should have done this when they opened at like plus 170, but I'm not going to complain about that. But there was an interesting moment, and Neal, you were at the game, so I don't know if you really caught this. I think I said something on a message board today about it. Beard getting on, was it the scores table or a chair or something, and like just watching the crowd storm the court?
Yeah, I didn't see it live. I've seen pictures of it, but I was getting down to the court, and then when I got down to the court, I went to the media room. I didn't see that.
I did not see it. I was watching Keith Carter and Javon Patterson chokeslam students. I'm joking, they did not. But
I was about to say it wouldn't have been that hard for Javon to chokeslam someone. He's still a very
they were doing pass rush drills though. They were doing
Javon was chopping his feet a little bit.
Yeah, they were doing pass rush drills, trying to keep the fans off the field. I was like, this is not. I was worried about Keith and Javon getting in a situation that they didn't need to be in.
Yeah, I got a chance to listen to McCready and Siskey today, and I 100% agree. It's about to get to the point where we're about to start putting people in uncomfortable situations where something could happen.
Well, we're there because the AD of an SEC AD of an SEC athletic department. I'm going to say that one more time. The athletic director, we're putting it on him to physically go out there and stop people coming on the court. We are there.
Students from his the school
from
that
the school that he represents, and it puts him in a bad spot.
And like I said earlier, the kids, I mean, a whole lot of kids aren't aware of the fine structure and stuff, and they've had a couple of pops, and they're just having fun. And yeah, it's.
I mean, they advertise $1.50 beers or something. You know what I mean? Like,
they're doing everything they can to come to the games, and they come to the games and they have a few beers, and most of them are not aware of the fine structure. They're not keeping up with. Trust me.
And it puts Keith in a
kids.
You know, and then to Keith's credit is once the 2-minute thing. He said, "Come on."
It's like 90 seconds.
Whatever it is, he said, "Come on." After that, but like it just put him in a bad situation. I didn't want anything bad to happen to him or Javon. You know, trying to. Get in that.
No, the answer is, hey, we're going to announce over the thing. Hey, we're going to let the other team. But you couldn't have done that last night because Tennessee, with 1 second left, had the ball on the rim to send the game to overtime. So
they had the ball in there.
In the event that Tennessee doesn't score here, no, you can't do that. So
and you had Nancy Pelosi and Al Golden coming down on the road.
I know you had Nancy Pelosi there. She was working on her dentures, and Al Green was excited.
Brother, there is without question 75% of them people in neon yellow shirts had dentures. Without question.
Which, by the way, shout out to Beard. I don't know. I think it was someone from a student section threw something on the court, and he immediately got on the mic.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't want to. I don't want to be the one to say it. Okay, I don't want to be the one to say it. All I know is Ole Miss won this game by 2 points. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All I know is my man from Tennessee, I don't even know who it was. My guy was getting like ball in hand, ready to put her up. I saw it. Something flew out and hit him in the chest.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
So
I laughed when Chris said, we don't do that. And I was like, well, Ole Miss is actually kind of known for throwing stuff. So I don't know.
It looked like
Neal.
Almost like a red, like a highlighter. You know what I mean? Like it was something red it looked like you threw a pin or something, and it hit him.
Oh, wow.
And it landed right at his feet.
Neal.
And then they stopped it. All I'm saying, okay?
Could have been a big bucket.
All I'm saying is, do you know what happened when he shot the next free throw? Off the back of the iron at the end of a 1-and-1.
Oh, wow.
They got 0 points out of that. I'm just saying.
How about that?
You don't think, like, you shot free throws from the game before. And that's it had to be going through his mind a little bit. I just got hit with something from the stands. My man dunked it off the back, and Ole Miss got the rebound. No points on that possession. Just saying. So that was that could be a big turning point in the game.
They could have.
Okay, yeah. I'll just say this, and this is not me. Well, yeah, screw it. I'm probably biased as an Ole Miss fan. After the 2021 football game, I just have a feeling whenever Tennessee and Ole Miss play in anything, it's gonna be a little more animated and heated than it would have been beforehand.
I thought the actual, to me, and I was up there with the common folk, with all the Tennessee fans and the common folk.
Slumming it.
I thought the Tennessee fans were awesome at the game. I didn't see, there was nobody. Now, the Kentucky game, the Kentucky fans that were sitting with the common folk, they were a little rowdy. But they wanted to start fights with all the Ole Miss people. And
oh, did they?
Yeah, that was.
Wow.
I was pulling for both sides. Matter of fact, I remember because the guy thought I was a Kentucky fan, and I had to tell him, no, I'm not a Kentucky fan.
You were cheering for the under.
He thought I was like on Team Kentucky. No. That was the game
under.
That was the team. That was the. I'm for.
You were chanting defense.
Yeah, I was like
defense
on both sides.
But then the next time defense.
And like somebody blocked a shot or something. I was like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, you a Kentucky fan? No, I'm an under fan.
I need that ball not to go in that hoop."
Yes. Yeah, that was the game.
I need bricks. Yeah. But Neal, I say all that to say I thought that was a cool moment. Beard kind of looking at the crowd, and I'm sure a big part of that was him thinking to himself, like, Jesus, have I bounced back in the past 24 months?
Yeah,
but there was
a lot of that, and a little bit of, hey, this
might be able to work.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he is such a confident guy that part of it is. I've told some people this today who are like, you think maybe he sees, oh, you can do it at Ole Miss. This is a guy that thinks he could do it at ULM,
Little Rock.
I mean, he did it at Little Rock. Yeah, he that confidence isn't an issue. But he probably did think to himself, this has been one hell of a 25-month period in my life, and I do think there is a loyalty and affection to Ole Miss for giving him an opportunity, and I've learned over. I'm not saying that this guy will be right, but I've learned over the years there are certain journalists in certain places that you can trust on certain things, and when Rick Bozich says that Indiana's not hiring Chris Beard, I tend to believe him. If it ends up happening, everybody can say, you said. No, I mean, I read what Rick Bozich said, and he's been covering Indiana for a long time. And so when he says that's not going to happen, I tend to believe him. So, and then that being said, I'm not totally convinced Chris would leave at this point for that job.
I'm not either.
We talked about it earlier. Are there jobs he would leave for? Of course. But it might be that handful of jobs that everybody would leave for. So, and in this era with, rev share coming and all the stuff, who knows, and he might not be distanced enough from the stuff for other programs to give. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and the last thing, and then I'll hang up because I know y'all are about to close. So I think it's fair to say, 2 years in, this has already been a success. They're back in the tournament. They're comfortably back into the tournament. Like I know people were freaking out before the Oklahoma game, but even on that losing streak, I think they were getting in.
Yeah.
So, I think it's safe to say he's going to have the same to, if not more, resources for next year, and they've got to replace a lot. Do you think he's going to be able to hit a little bit better on recruiting now that he's kind of settling in here and he'll be going into year 3?
Yeah, it's just
how much money you got?
It's just money. It's going to come down to money and who gets in the portal and that kind of thing. There's no way to know. I mean, I think he's a really good evaluator. They probably need to. I know they want to put a more athletic team together.
I will say this about the basketball portal. I know we got to go. To me, the basketball portal and the football portal are two different things. Okay.
Yeah.
In football, it's very difficult, which we've talked about ad nauseum. It's very difficult for a G5 player to come up and play in the SEC because of everything else. I think it's easier. I didn't say it's easy. I think it's easier to go get a dude at a G5 program in basketball that they can't afford. They're not going to use rev shares. So I think it's easier for those guys to come in and be productive players on your roster in basketball than it is in football. So I think the portal will be a little easier.
Grind, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. I mean, Vibin, thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
Thanks to everybody for calling in. Appreciate it, Tyler. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you very much. Thanks to Comer Southern for being with us. Don't really know what next week's schedule is going to be in terms of this show. Probably no Thursday night show next week, and then we'll see what the week after that looks like with the tournament and all of those things.
You will be covering a basketball game this time next week.
I think you're probably right. So we'll keep you updated. Thanks to everyone again for all the time. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great weekend.